Now, former President Jacob Zuma is back in court for his corruption trial and is expected to bring yet another application to have State Prosecutor Billy Downer removed from the case.
Now, Zuma, to remind you, is accusing Downer of leaking his confidential medical records to the media, but he recently lost an appeal for a private prosecution against Downer and well-known journalist Karen Moore.
Senior reporter Siphamandla Goge is at the High Court in Pietermaritzburg and he joins us this morning. A very good morning to you, Siphamandla. So we are expecting an appeal from Jacob Zuma to try and get Billy Downer removed from this case. What is it looking like? Does he look like the former president will be attending court today?
Well, in terms of his physical attendance, we are not sure yet. Usually by this time you would see members of the Presidential Protection Service or unit up and down here setting up security parameters. But I can tell you that I have not spotted any of them. However, I've spotted some members of former President Jacob Zuma's family, including the former deputy mayor of Msunduzi, that is Thobani Zuma. He's already inside court here to show his support to the former president. The former president himself, we do not have any indication as to whether he will be physically present in court today, but he is expected to be here. I can't recall what the judge said the last time he appeared, whether there was an expectation in terms of him coming to court, because this is a new special application, or rather plea, which the former president has launched. He wants to remove, state lead prosecutor, Advocate Billy Downer. He tried before under Judge Bidgoon and then he failed. Now there is a new judge, and that is Judge Bosnathi Chili. The former president decided to bring in another new application to have Downer removed. Why is he bringing another application? Simply because he feels that with a new judge, his case and his matter could be listened better, because previously he had argued that, well, his attempt to remove Billy Downer was shot down. He tried to persuade the court, but there were no prospects of success in that regard. Judge Bidgoon saying all the arguments and all the submissions that the former president was making had been made before, and there was no element of truth or rather something that could persuade the court to rule in his favor. So therefore he felt that with the new judge, perhaps he thinks that he stands a better chance. What will he be bringing before this court that he has not brought before? Because remember, recently he lost his appeal at the Supreme Court of Appeal in a private matter where he wants to privately prosecute Advocate Billy Downer and journalist Karen Moore. Why is the former president hell-bent on removing Billy Downer? According to him, he says Billy Downer lacks the title to prosecute. That's the argument he made before in the application that was dismissed or turned down. He says Billy Downer is a compromised individual, conflicted, because he, according to the former president, leaked his confidential medical records to the journalist Karen Moore. That's why he decided to go ahead with that private prosecution. While he was undertaking that private prosecution, he said Billy Downer cannot lead this prosecution team when it comes to this fraud and corruption trial, because he is being privately prosecuted. So these cases are different but somehow linked or intertwined. But let's take a listen to what one lawyer had to say about prospects of success and also further delays to this matter, because technically this trial is underway. The former president pleaded not guilty, and that signaled that the trial got underway. But there are these stops and starts simply because there are other matters that need to be attended to. So I can bet my last cent that we will see another postponement, even if arguments and submissions are heard in court today on that application by the former president to have Billy Downer removed. But after that, the matter will be postponed again. Let's take a listen to Mr. Thabani Mfeka from Mfeka Attorneys explaining these delays that we have seen in this matter.
We aren't going to see anything new in this matter. I think what is going to be happening is a continuation of several arguments that have already been canvassed before the court. Unreasonable delay, oftentimes when we argue it in court, is mainly for the accused. But this is an exceptional case where you see even the state saying, look, there's been unreasonable delay. So insofar as my opinion is concerned, I certainly do believe we're still going to be seeing unreasonable delay. And in this instance now, one can even argue that it's unreasonable delay on the part of the public. I mean, certainly there's a lot of public opinion regarding this matter. And with the delay that is continuing to happen, there's a lot that is at stake, and one should try and see the finality of this matter.
Yeah, the finality of this matter, Siphamandla, might be a long way down the road. We're seeing on screen the former president back in court, but just to remind viewers that as it stands right now, we don't know if the president himself, the former president, physically is going to be there. I want to ask you this, though, because the expectation is, and you're probably right, going to be another delay. So now we have this special plea application. At what point does the corruption trial actually get underway? I imagine the application and the plea have to be dealt with first before we can go back to the matter at hand. Is that correct?
Absolutely. This special plea application is part of this corruption trial that is in a way underway. When the former president pleaded not guilty, the trial did start, but now it's being delayed by these applications that the former president is bringing. Though, to be fair, even Judge Piet Koen, who was presiding over this matter before he recused himself, he did say, well, there's nothing you can do if legal recourse allows the former president or any other person to go through all these appeals processes. If he's not happy with whatever that is being handed down, he's got a right to appeal. I remember the state was frustrated, saying, well, the former president is applying his Stalingrad approach of delaying everything. Judge Piet Koen said, well, if the law allows it, then you have to change the law. If you do not change the law, then there is nothing you can do. Up until all these matters and these processes are finalized, then we can be able to get on with the trial itself. That is still, by the way, going to face a number of delays. You know, legal experts and lawyers are predicting that you could very well have a trial within a trial. Once you get underway, there will be also another applications that will be brought forward. So even when the trial gets underway, there will still be some delays. So this matter is far from over. In fact, if I were to quote my former colleague Thulasizwe Simelane, who would say, this is like a car. You switch on the engine, you rev the car, but you do not take off.
Are we going to see Thales there today as well? Because obviously the focus is on the former president because of his status in the country, but Thales, the French arms company, obviously involved in this corruption trial as well. When it comes to these ongoing delays and now this special plea, as you were talking about, Siphamandla, do they even come to court in a case like this?
Luckily for them, the previous judge, Judge Piet Koen, gave an order to say there is no need for them to be physically present. Remember, they are an entity, they are a business, they are a company, so they are represented by one person who represents the company, who flies all the way from France to come here to South Africa to attend these court matters. So previously, Judge Piet Koen had ruled that there is no need for their representative to come to court up until all these appeals processes and applications by the former president are done and dusted, because Thales is not really affected by all these applications that the former president is bringing forward. But I remember at some point their lawyers were arguing that just separate these matters, because now these delays also affect Thales, and they were arguing that, well, if the former president decides to launch an appeal or a certain application, they have to sit and wait for that to happen, because remember, the former president is accused number one in this matter, Thales accused number two. So both of them are linked and intertwined. So up until the former president is done with his applications and his appeals, they will not be coming to court. They will only come to court once the judge says, we are ready to go, first witness on the stand, and he will give enough time for logistics and preparations for their representation, or rather for their representative to fly all the way from Paris to come to South Africa. So we are not expecting Thales today, because the judge did say, well, just wait for these processes to be over. We will let you know when we are ready to call you, when the trial is ready to resume.
Siphamandla, as we prepare ourselves for the appeal today, if we can just backtrack a little bit and actually look at the issue between the former President Jacob Zuma and Billy Downer, what it is that the court said and why they consistently dismissed the applications by former President Jacob Zuma. And is there anything different that Zuma and his team will be bringing to court in this appeal?
The latest court papers by the former president, we understand, and that will be his argument and his legal team, is that they say, well, when we applied before for the very same application, we said to you, Billy Downer lacked the title to prosecute. He's a compromised individual because, according to the former president, he allegedly colluded with a journalist and leaked that confidential medical record of the former president. Those were some of the arguments that they were bringing. But the former president, in his initial court papers, he had said that Billy Downer has got a personal vendetta against him. He's got an axe to grind, so therefore he will not accord him a fair and just trial. So therefore he wanted him removed on the basis that he basically alleges that, well, Downer wants me convicted at all costs. Downer had argued that, listen, I've got no personal vendetta against you. I'm just prosecuting this matter because it was assigned to me. So initially, those are the arguments that the former president made. For the latest application, the latest bid, he will go as far back as saying, well, in the early 2000s, Billy Downer allegedly colluded with another investigative journalist, and that is Sam Soul. He will be arguing that he was allegedly leaking information to journalists. That's what he will be trying to prove today, to say, well, this matter has been in the making for years, and this is why I'm saying Billy Downer must go, because he is been colluding allegedly with the journalists. So that's the background to this matter. As I see members of the South African police here, they are coming with the eNCA. Unfortunately, we won't be able to show you that because they are on the other side. They are moving up and down. I think they will be cordoning off this main road, which is outside court, for security reasons. It's always standard procedure that when the former president's matter is due back in court, they always heighten security. We are not expecting his supporters to come to court, but the basis of this matter lie in the fact that the former president says Billy Downer is not fit to prosecute him. He's compromised, he's conflicted. An allegation that the prosecutions has dismissed, saying, well, this is our best man. He's got historical knowledge of this matter. He understands it very well. He understands this case, and he is fit and proper to prosecute. He's got the title and the papers to lead this prosecution. So those are the arguments that we are expecting to be resuscitated in court today. Will there be anything new, in a sense, that really new? I doubt, because all the arguments the former president has made, the courts have ruled on those and they have dismissed him.
Siphamandla Goge, thank you very much. We'll certainly be keeping abreast of developments in the courts today.